Hey guys, what's up? This is Avi, and I'm back and as ready as I'm probably going to be for the Lucian fight. I'm very nervous to go in for the third time, especially after failing twice. Having that said, this might be a little bit longer beginning of the video as I'm going to go through a couple of maybe good pointers for the Lucian players out there, the Lucian fighters out there, especially those who haven't went into the fight yet. So I'm not going to talk about how to get the materials, but there's a couple of things about the fight that I'll try to call out to you guys. And I know I'm not playing a Druid right now, but thinking back on my Druid loss, um, you want to focus on two things, besides max lightning res and having some kind of lightning absorb, which is most likely going to be from a wisp. On these characters, at least on the paladin, you can use a lightsaber, but the only other lightning absorb in the game, I believe, is from Juanin's belt. It's a set belt, and it really overrides a Dungo slot, which gives you a lot of vitality, health, and physical damage resistance. So it's really not that great of an alternative, but the Wisp is extremely expensive, so especially for hardcore. So having that said, if I was to do the Druid over again, I would use Ursa's Nightmare Helm because it gives a huge health percent of life bonus. So let's talk about the life thing for a quick second. The best way to get life is really percentage life bonuses, and this typically comes from either a corrupt, the Doombringer has it on the item itself, or a Jaw Ruin. So if you think about needing this 4% life, the Jaw Ruin's expensive, right? In hardcore, it's like 2 something high ruins. But if you can grab a corrupt with it on there, then that saves you 2 high ruins. Having that said, you need to find the other ways to place your max lightning resistance. Right, that means you have to use a low ruin if you get a percent life corrupt. All right, that's one is the life thing. Certain skills obviously give life, and basically you compound it and you add percentage. Obviously the other things are the charms, right? You need life charms. You have to have them, and you need good torch vitality and anti-vitality. Okay, the damage thing. For the Druid, at least, you definitely need, I thought, you needed some type of amp proc, at least going for a physical damage build. So Cranium Basher, right? That has the proc. When I went in with my Druid with the Hell Slayer alone, my Fury Druid before I turned to Werebear, it just was not doing any damage. I believe you really definitely, if you're going to do physical damage, need some type of damage reduction, physical pierce. So you can either get that from proccing the amp, besides just having high physical damage, or for this Barbarian build, Berserk has a really good physical pierce. So that's kind of what's going to help you a lot with the damage, besides just having a good weapon. Obviously, besides having a good weapon, you need to hit your breakpoints, or some good breakpoints. So obviously, if this is softcore, you can probably get 15 ISEDs. If it's hardcore, you're probably looking at some type of more cost value things like shell ruins with an ED jewel or something like that, or all shell ruins. Okay, getting that out of the way, what else can I tell you about the Lucian fight to focus on? And I'm reminding myself as I go here, because I am kind of nervous myself getting into it, but the 2 biggest things obviously are dodging the lightning novas, and even more kind of important, but more it sneaks up on you more, is the white lightning that basically snakes through the ground in what will be an obvious pattern when you see it, but the thing fucking hurts. It does damage, and it can hit you more than once. So, it's pretty easy to just stay away from it for the most part. But the reality is, it's like when you dodge the Novas or when you're trying to fight portals or ads, it happens to be in the places that you're at. So you either have to, obviously purposely avoid it and choose to go after a different objective or ignore objectives for the time being. But there's just so much going on in Lucion Fight. I mean, you got to pay attention to your pot slots, where Lucian is, what he's doing. It's actually pretty dark in the fight. So it's kind of hard to pay attention to all these factors. All right, having that said, let me stop babbling about those things. The gear slots for each character pretty particular, so you'll notice that as you go through. The Barbarian is nice because he has skills like natural resistance that gives him like 50 plus resistance after skill bonuses and things like that. So having that said, here's my tree. It's pretty basic. You want obviously lots of points in general mastery, 2 points, flat points in Iron Skin for the extra damage reduction. A point in everything else gets you some nice bonuses. A lot of the health comes from combat reflexes and also FHR, and this is also a synergy to Berserk. Having that said, obviously Berserk is the next main skill, and you'll max as well Taunt, which I'll show you in a second, but you want this Frenzy too, and Frenzy needs to be at a certain level where when you power it up to get you to max attack speed, that allows you to hit an easier breakpoint. Basically, when it's powered up, your Berserk needs to have an 80 breakpoint so that you can easily attain that with your on-hand weapon plus any other increased attack speed that you have on your character, which would be the Barbarian here. So going into that a little bit deeper, what does that mean? That means that you need to get that IS. It's a must. So I could shell this Doombringer, but I needed a max light res amulet, and quite frankly, they're all very expensive in the marketplace. So I grabbed this plus 2 max cat's eye, which actually is really nice for getting attack speed. And it also means I save 28 points on dexterity, which I can devote to vitality. On the Barbarian, that's 4 life per point. So it's big, right? It's maybe not the best in slot. Saccharins is nice here. But it also will give me the ability to use a jewel other than a shale on my Doombringer, which will give me some extra ED. I'll get into the Doombringer and the jewels going into Grandfather Blade in just 1 second. Just rambling on about some more things here. For this Barbarian Lucian build, you need a Halberd Drain. It's not an option not to have a Halberd Drain. They're in high demand, especially the ones with 3 sockets, but you're definitely looking for one with either a Corrupt Max Lightning Res onto it, which you can then 1 socket or P-box to put, let's say, like a low and a jaw in there, or if you have 3 sockets, 2 lows and a jaw, or something like that. It's a must because it has the damage, physical damage reduction, also huge bonuses on battle orders and battle cry. Having that said, this is your max strength requirement item, so you need to dump 174 points in here. Not only that, I tried cheaping out on some of the points, but if you switch to do your battle orders and you don't have 174 after your swap, then you don't get the extra points on the battle orders or the Barbarian skill levels, which is 5 in total. In addition, you lose the helm for the fight for that time being, so it's 12% damage reduction that you're not getting. So you definitely want to do that. Okay, let's go over, before I go over the air, let's do the jewels. I saved putting the jewels in for this video. The jewels were like this whole thing. In hardcore, the jewels are expensive. People in hardcore, they want to take you for every dollar you've got in High Ruins on the PD2 trade site, and maybe that's the value of things, but the reality is you have to be like a cost-conscious consumer when you're trading, because you just need so many things. I did all this analysis, which I'll show you guys here, on basically my ethereal grandfather and which should I put ED jewels in, or what would it be if I put in a min-max jewel. And then down below I did the same thing for the Doombringer. There's a lot of calculations here. I don't want to bore you guys and jump into this too deep, but basically you want ED jewels obviously in the grandfather, and this really makes a difference in the max damage here. For an ethereal grandfather, it's every percentage is a max damage point. In the minimum damage, where it rounds down, it's considerably nominal, the difference between the ED jewels. So when you talk about an ED jewel compared to a min-max, one of the things I also noticed was when considering the ED jewels, you add the min plus the max, right? Because that's basically adding total damage. So for example, your 35% would give you 13 min damage and 35 max damage, which equals to 48. If you were to put like just a min or a max jewel in here, you would only get the 13, or let's say it was 13 min and 13 max, you would get the 26. So that's the first thing. The second thing with the Doombringer is the analysis concludes that basically min damage jewels are better for adding more minimum damage, but they're not better for adding more maximum damage. The Doom is especially different because it has a lot of this damage applied after the ED calculation. So like it's really not the same calc as the grandfather. I mean, the grandfather has it on the max damage, so I just wanted to be sure what I was doing here. In conclusion, again, the ED adds more consistent damage, and it adds relatively more total damage. In addition to that, I have 4 slots here, and I have to hit at least a 50 IAS break point, or 50 IAS on the jewels, when considering the additional 30 from the cat side to hit the 80 break point. So I had a couple options here: use 1 shell, use 2 IS EDs, use 1 ED. This was option 1, the best for probably getting max ED damage. I can't really afford anything over 15 IS and 15 ED, so that's how it's breaking down. Option 2 wasn't really as good. Not that it's bad, but it's much more expensive and it's too hard to find the jewels. And option 3, which is the cheapest and what I basically have available, would really be something more affordable. But the reality is I can't even get my hands on a 15 IS jewel, and I'm tired of trading. I want to do this fight and get it over with. So we'll be doing 3 shells and 1 ED jewel. Having that said, let's see how it works out. So we'll start with the grandfather blade. This is what it looks like before. I don't know the calcs after. These are the jewels I had available and chosen. I could have probably traded for a little bit better ones, but it's not that big of a deal when you think about like the total max damage difference between adding a 5% jewel or whatever, but it would have been nice to have some additional stats on there. So here we go, let's throw them in. We'll do 1, 2, 3. So I think that was like 611 max to 720. Pretty good. I probably should have looked at total EDs before and after for Frenzy and Berserk. But it's okay. Not that big of a deal. And then we'll do the 3 shells and the Doombringer. So we'll start with shells. We'll start with the ED jewel, 230 to 400. So about 20 on the min, 20 on the max one hand. 2, 4, 60 IAS plus my 30. You can see kind of my res here. And the IAS frames will hit. I just want to make sure that it was going to come into the calc. I'm not sure why it's showing 32 there. Oh, there we go, 92. I had to reset. So I will now, you can see I have a little bit of currency left over. At the beginning of this season, or maybe a couple of weeks ago, I was looking to find a Snow Clash belt with 2 max res, and it was like perfect. I sold it for like 14 higher, and it's basically where most of my currency came from, especially after losing my Druid stuff. So you just have to get lucky out there, and really that's how the season can go. All right, I need to refill my pots in here. All right. And sorry, forgive me for like kind of going through this live, but I thought it would be cool to show you guys maybe how nervous I am and kind of walk through it a little bit more in depth before I did the actual fight. So show you my come up in a second, but want to show you guys what the max life looks like on the Switch. 3914. Not too bad. I know some of the advice was take out a combat skill charm or 2 and go with full life small charms aside from getting max res. You can see my res is here, pretty capped out except poison. Alright, so let's go over the gear one last time in detail, and then I'll restart a game and try to do the fight. I'm very nervous. I feel like I'm not going to be able to win. I don't want to display a lack of confidence here, but it's a tough fight. I've only ever done tier 0s on trapper builds, thanks to Schmidtword. He's got amazing guides on how to do Diablo Clone and Rathma, and I usually do that with a trapper. It's pretty budget. It's great for the season. And then my typical Uber Tristan build and bosser typically is a Fury Druid, which now is gone. But okay, here's the Doombringer. You need the max life, right? You want that. You need the 4 sockets to hit the on-weapon breakpoint in attack speed. Halbert's Rain, double low. Somebody gave this to me. I swear, the PD2 guys, you have like really amazing people out there. I was traded in for something else, and I just mentioned to him, I saw he had a 2 Halbert's Rain, and I said, oh, I need one of those. And he had given me, I guess he had another one. He had given me this for free. This is like an expensive item. All right, Cat's Eye, I picked this up for roughly a goal, thanks to the person. It's a little under market. I appreciate that. You have a couple options for the AMI, but you need the 2 max, basically. Grandfather is probably best option in second-hand slot. You need the stats, 20 to all stats, life. You don't really use the war cry, but you use the +2 to skills. You want ED damage tools in here, so you can get as much damage as possible. Increased attack speed on the offhand doesn't help. Moving down, lightning max Rars Gore riders. You have to have this. You need basically crushing blow for the fight is like one of the must-haves. I probably forgot to mention before, but because Lucian has a lot of life, like it really takes him down when he's at a higher HP faster. Unless you have like kind of a more perfect setup for the max lightning res, you need the max lightning res on the Gore. So yes, there's other ways to get it, but you're likely going to need these. Raven Frost, I don't know if you need the cannot be frozen. The cold absorb may be good for the smaller wormads. Has some attack rating. I wasn't really willing to risk taking it off. Then the Verdungos is best in slot. PDR, Vitality, Life. You can probably get a number of corruptions here that are useful, but the extra points and the other stats allow me to min-max and add more to Vitality, which is helpful to scale and compound the HP. Wisp Projector, I tried to fight last time without a Wisp because it was so expensive and I hadn't sold the belt. It was a good item to sell, but some of the more expensive items hard to find a buyer. I had sold it right after my Druid died. Just by chance somebody was interested. This one has a 64 gold corruption. I wasn't really willing to pay the huge asking price of a bunch of high runes for what most people are asking for good corruptions and stuff, but I got this one from somebody in game for 5 high runes, which is the most expensive item on the build, obviously because it's the demand for the Lucion Fight. Soul Drainers, you want the minus physical resistance. It just adds so much more pure damage. Maybe other things could be useful here, but yeah. A high Vite and Annie, the resistance is helpful because sometimes you need that. We have Life Resists, or plain lifers around the top in small charms. We have a high Vite Annie, high Vitality Health Torch, 2 all resistance charms, 3 all resistance large charms, 1 with life on it, couple of expensive combat skillers with life, and 1 GP. And then I needed the extra resistance. So that's the build. And I guess it's time to meet my fate here. So let me reset the game. I'm gonna move my microphone a little bit. And give me a few seconds to get my composure. I'm gonna want to keep my pot slots shown. I think last time on my death I might have hit an empty pot slot. It's hard to look at the lightning and the Nova and Lucian and your pots and everything. It's a lot going on. Alright, looks like I have everything. Let me mess with my key bindings too. So in my original, playing through this whole Barbarian the whole time, I've put my left click on Berserk. For this fight just now, I've put it on F2. I watched Zix's video fighting tier 2 Lucian with this Barb build, which basically I copied from him. All credit to Zix, but he has the move on left click, so I definitely want to do that in case or when Lucian does his Nova. You don't want to accidentally try to move and be attacking an ad. So maybe not the best thing to do to switch key bindings right before a big fight, but I'm going to do it. Worried about having to BO mid-fight. I think I'm probably going to take longer than 3 minutes here though, so just have to deal with it. going to F5, F6, F7, and F8 to get my Heart of the Wolverine out. As soon as I get in there, I'll go in with my sticks out, and then I'll come back to this. Let me just try to hit a key binding, make sure I go back to Berserk. Okay. Berserk is going to be my F2, and Frenzy is going to be my F1, and then F3, just recapping for myself here, F3 I have Battle Cry, which I don't think, not sure it works on Lucian himself, but the ads might be helpful for, and then Grim Ward if I don't get overwhelmed and I remember to use it. So just to remind myself, I'm primarily going to focus on the Novas and the Lightning. Yes, I want to kill Lucian fast. Yes, I want to kill the portals fast, but I think that's going to be the key not to dying. Okay, so we're going to go in like this. F5, F6, F7, F8. We're going to switch over, and we're going to F1 until we frenzy up, and hopefully we don't have to retinker frenzy. Let me see, what does it look like with Heart of the Wolverine on? That is the Berserk, and that's the frenzy. Okay. If I fail flat, I'm glad I gave you guys a good starting video. And let's do it. I don't think I'm getting any less nervous. So. It's a little bit hard to use the frenzy. Oh shit. Oh, I keep trying to move. I lost my frenzy. There's the lightning that circles. Keep trying to put F3 and F4 output on. that's the white lightning on the floor is what you got to worry about. Gosh. Still getting used to the key bindings. I think you could see I'm a little bit sloppy. See, this is where it gets dark. It's like hard to see. Oh, lots of lightning now. And so I told myself this too before. I was like, you know, if the lightning's close to you, just use a pot. Up, up. Right? Like if you feel like you're closer on the edge, just use your pots. It's better, especially hardcore, to use your pots. So, okay, looks like we did it. Very exciting, especially for how nervous I was. I believe you can go into this portal, and I think you can go back. I don't know if I want to slam this cat's eye. I also have a 10 block High Lords. Okay, well, I don't have a town portal with me. I think I saw someone go back and forth. Oh, here's probably where they did it. I'll slam the High Lords. Max block, probably not the best thing in the world. I'm not sure which build might use it, but we'll do that. Let me open these chests. Feels good to win. I guess don't really know what else to say. This was huge. I put a lot of time into it. Sorry for saying a lot. Before with my Druid, this was kind of the last thing I wanted to do during the season. It's a little bit harder because there's no tier 0. So it's definitely challenging for someone that hasn't ever done a T1 boss. Shout out to all the Discord guys. Let's see how this goes. I know they can brick, so ooh. Oh, awesome. Great. Thanks everyone for watching me on my journey. I don't know that there's more left for me in PD2 this season. Might hang around here and there. I mean, it's always easy to say you're going to quit, but everybody, thanks for watching my journey here, and I don't know if I'll be doing any more YouTube videos anytime soon, but have a great season.